Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnik here. We're live from Sydney, Australia, but we're actually going live all over the world, of course, with my eyes on cricket. And boy, there's been a lot to talk about. The way that the Australians have fought back so well against Pakistan beggars belief, as we would say. It's quite astounding the way in which Australia, I fully expected Pakistan to come back into bat in their first innings and get a good total. But I was completely floored by the way that Pakistan have, I wouldn't say capitulated. The pitch has certainly worn a lot more. And the fact is that Australia have certainly had a very impressive situation occur where they basically everything fell into place. Even Mitchell Sleption had an amazing dream run. He got 15 not out when he batted. He took the first wicket, the fall for Pakistan. It wasn't his bowling; it was his fielding. In fact, he ran out Abdul Shafiq in a most emphatic way, and hence saw the scoreline absolutely fall apart to the point where Pakistan were all out for 148. Yes, 148. They were none for 252 in the second innings in Rawalpindi, not losing a wicket with both opening batsmen scoring centuries. But here, Pakistan couldn't muster 148. Now, the wicket is certainly proving to be different. It's hotter, it's baked a lot more under the sun there, it's more humid perhaps, and the ball has started a reverse swing earlier. It's played into the hands of Stark and even Green, and both Lyon and the new bowler Swepson, who took 2 wickets, came to the fore. Now, Australia, let's just go back. They actually finished on 9 for 5, 5, 6, as you would know, with Pat Cummins not out 34 and Mitchell Swepson and then out 15 in his first ever Test match. So they certainly came and added some more runs in the morning. That 9 for 5, 5, 6 led to Pakistan all out for 148 with an incredible array of low scores. Shafiq was run out, as I described, by Swepson, then Imam al-Haq was out to a pretty poor shot offline. Then Nasser Ali got a good ball from Stark. Fawad Alam was out next ball, in fact his first ball, for a duck, and then it just fell from there, and Cummins chipped in, Green chipped in, Stark got chipped in again. There was a run out down the track by Labuschagne, probably paying back for his run out first innings, and Norman Ali and Shaheen Afridi actually got the biggest partnership here at the end, with both of them getting 20 and 19 respectively. Score 148 after 53 overs. And most people would have assumed that Australia would have sent Pakistan back into bat, in other words, made them follow on. But in fact, they haven't, and it's a bit scratch your head stuff. Australia are currently now 1 for 42, having lost Warner for 7, but Labuschagne 11, and Usman Khawaja yet again is back in, and he is in fact back in, not out 22 after he's won 60 in the first innings. So Australia amazingly are back in the bat. They lost their first wicket and the wicket was 20. The score was 20. Been 1 for 42 now. There are some, what are they? There's some outrageous 450 in the front. And we're into day 3, session 3, last session. 450 in front. They probably, Australia don't need to bat anymore, you would not think. But ever since the day when, it was 2002-03, when both Vivesh Lakshman and Rahul Dravid came in a follow-on situation against Australia, and we ended up losing that match with Harbhajan spinning towards the end as well. I said nothing to take away from Australia. Yesterday, I've told you, Stark, could it be lethal? And so he proved, and Pakistan batters were clueless and toothless today. I wouldn't be so hard on the Pakistani bowlers. Yeah, you did say also Stark would bowl well, and he absolutely shocked me. He ended up getting how many wickets did he get? How many wickets did he get? He got 3 for 29 off his 13 overs. Cummins got 1 for 39. Lyon 1 for 13. Mitchell Swepson on debut, 9 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 32. Cameron Green won for 23 weeks, reliable and Labuschagne bowled over. Yeah, so some of you were right. I'm saying that Stark was, and I'm a bit gobsmacked. I'm sitting here having expected Pakistan to bat well in their first innings, because only a matter of a few days ago, their openers all got centuries in both innings almost. Now they all fell pretty well. It was a run out the start of the rot and a poor shot from Imam. And Azhar Ali played quite strongly at a ball which flew to Cameron Green, I think, thick on third slip. Yeah, so Pakistan have fallen apart somewhat. It was very sad, especially on the same day when the women's side, the Pakistan women's side, were defeated very handsomely by, well, not handsomely, they were defeated by a very vigilant Bangladeshi women's team by some 6-7 runs. And yeah, Bismillah Maruf, she looked pretty good, but unfortunately the team, and Amin got a century opening the batting for Pakistan women. But they lost as well. So Pakistan men's and women had a horrible day. They wish they didn't actually turn up for their respective games. And then Pakistan and South Africa beat England on the women's. And South Africa have had 3 wins in a row, but mind you, they've played all the easy sides. They haven't played Australia yet. They haven't played New Zealand yet. Although England were the defending champions of the World Cup, of course. They haven't played New Zealand, Australia, the West Indies, and India. So they've got a few hard games to come. Imam played a reckless shot. It wasn't needed. Well, let's not knock Imam al-Haqi scored 2 massive centuries in Rawalpindi, and he can't be knocked because of that one performance. It's a real pity that they didn't send him back, because I would have thought that they could have shown up very quickly how well they can bat. Yeah, so that's all a bit of a shock. The other match which is on, which and also a very beautiful trophy. Volume there, sorry, the volume's on. The Pay TM match. Sri Lanka are now currently 8 for 208. They were looking really good at one stage. Both Kaushal Mendes and Dimuth Kurran are both batting very well and looked like they were going to put a score on, but they've fallen away a fair bit from there. Let me have a look what's happened there. Yeah, they've only got 2 wickets to go before they're all out and the game's over. In that particular case, Dimuth Kurran, out of a score of 8 for 208, he scored 107 of those runs, and Kaushal Mendes scored 54 of them. So 2 batsmen scored 161 runs to the 208, and the rest of them all fallen for single figures, except for Tikwala, who was stumped Patel, stumped punt off Patel. So yeah, so that's a bit of a disappointment. Bumrah's trying to finish them off at the moment. And Sri Lankans are looking as if they're probably going to be. Sri Lanka need 239 runs, which they're not going to get with only 2 weeks left. And Bumrah's smiling. Lakmal's smiling. Lakmal, it's his last test. So his last performance now, his last hurrah, he's faced 3 balls and he's on 1 run. Looks like the Sri Lanka India match will be finishing very, very short. In fact, there is 1 dismissal right there. Lakmal's just been bowled neck and crop by Bumrah, and then 9 for 208. 1 more wicket, and the India-Sri Lanka test match is over. And they're all giving. In fact, I think they've just called the match. They're not going to bother with the last wicket. They've actually called the match, have they? No, they're just. I think they know. They might be just saying goodbye to Lakmal. Look like they're finishing the match off there. They're all giving Lakmal a bit of a send off. It's nice as when a batsman gets out. They're all celebrating his last innings. And like Robert Sharma was saying, all the best to him. Jadeja's welcoming all the Sri Lankan players, walking up the pitch of Dinesh Chandimal. This month, there's quite a few of them. They're all wishing him well, which means it's his last match. Like Miles Crew after 70 test matches. Good on him. It's a nice way to get sent off, although, well, can Australia win? Much of hell, there's no hope in hell Australia can win, unless, with Australia now some 450 odd in front, with a full 2 days play left. If Australia don't declare soon, you won't have a win here. It could boil out being a draw, or potentially, if Pakistan bat well in the second innings, which they could well do. Oh gosh. Joe Wickrama is there in his first ball, very tentatively keeping him out. Sri Lanka have got no hope in hell. They've got still 239 runs to get with 1 wicket remaining after India declared at 9 for 303. They scored 252 in the first innings. Sri Lanka 109 all out, and they're 208 for 9 in the second. So they've scored a few more runs in the second innings, but thanks to Demuth Karunaratne, they've got a big century. Bumrah's already taken 3 wickets this innings. Yeah, so I hope you noticed one thing, sir. Pakistan batsmen legs were shivering when they were facing Stark. I didn't notice that specifically. The truth is that Stark was bowling pretty fast, but he wasn't bowling over 150 by any means. And it was the amount of reverse swing that did the damage more than anything else. Now Australia's going to demolish Pakistan. Well, you would think that such a turnaround from where they were only a matter of days ago, where Pakistan dominated a drawn test that they dominated. Australia won the toss here, which gave them the opportunity to score some 500 plus runs, which did put a bit of pressure on Pakistan. The wicket's certainly deteriorating very, very quickly. And in fact, we're in a hair's breadth of this match being over here for Sri Lanka. They've got, again, just go through the scores. India were 252 all out. Sri Lanka 109. So India led by 143 in the first innings. Scored a further 303 and declared it 9 down. So there's some 460 odd in front. Now Sri Lanka are 9 for 208. They've still got 239 runs to get. They won't get it. I see him last. Mitchell Starc reverse swing Australia. Yeah, Mitchell Starc's been impressive enough. I had him dropped for this test match, to be honest with you. He didn't take a wicket in the first match. But yeah, he's proven well today. And their selections have been pretty commendable. Swepson, as he got 15 not out, the mood was good for him there, and then he forced a run out for the first wicket of 4 for India, which pleased him later on. Australia did the same thing, and then he took 2 wickets. The first one he took was actually Babar Azam, caught it deep mid-off by Usman Khawaja, which was very pleasing for Swepson. And then later on he got Shaheen LBW for ball, which Shaheen was belting around at that time. Congratulations, Team Australia. They deserve it. They haven't won yet. We'll see. Uh-oh. That's all out. There we are. Vishwa has just holed out to Shami for bowling. Ashwin's got taken 4 wickets. They're all out for 208. That means that India won by 239 runs after having won by innings and 200 odd runs in the first test. So, as we expected, Sri Lanka have been snatched. But I put a bit of a fight with Demuth Karunaratne 100 and Kashim Mendes 50. But yeah, that match is well and truly over. The series is well and truly over. India and Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka go home now with their proverbial tail between their legs. So we can turn our attention to Australia versus Pakistan again very shortly. But Paul was right. What a turnaround for Australia in this match. It's a little bit hard to grasp, actually, because everything's just gone perfectly for them in this innings, and everything's not gone well for Pakistan. And Pakistan could well come out the second innings and bat well. So Ashwin took 4 in the other match, 3 to Bumrah. But at one stage, They were 2 for 97, 1 for 97 effectively. Shreyas had a very good match there. He got a 90 to 50 if I can recall correctly. Shuman Gill there, Giants is there, Benura, and Sri Lanka. All the teams are shaking hands very happily. Danja, Alan Shamasu, Coach Mendes. So Wendy won by 238 runs, I think, not 239. So Ashwin's last week, it was with the pink ball, of course, was lobbed up, and I'm not sure what Vishal was trying to do, but he didn't get anywhere where he was supposed to. Went straight up and Shami, very comfortable, easy catch there, and off that very full performance by Pakistan Malham. The batting performance was below par, yes. Nothing went right for them as well, which was another aspect of it. But there we are, India. Virat Kohli, Robert Sharma both very happy. Indian team management are happy. They played against a substandard Sri Lankan side, let's be honest. It's sort of a bit hard to watch India versus Sri Lanka. We're below par, there's no doubt about it. They lost by an innings and 222 runs, and then off they went here, and they just lost by 238. So toss is so crucial as well. It has set the scene here. With Australia being able to bat first, had Pakistan batted first, we're right. It could well have been a very different story. Dinesh Chandimal's there with Lucknow. They're both happy that his last test match. We're here, we're talking to both Akshar Patel and Ashwin. I don't think Akshar Patel did very much, but Ashwin, I think Ashwin took 4 wickets. Anyway, of course, Ashwin's gone into 8th spot on the overall bowling list. Now he's gone ahead of Dale Steyn. He's only got Kumble in front of him from an Indian perspective. And he's number 8 in the order. Nathan Lyon's gone to 14 now. He's gone ahead of Harbhajan Singh, as a matter of fact. So they're talking to both Ashwin and Akshar Patel, who seems to be a bit of a knack of doing very well in most of these games. Let's see where we are with India Women's World Cup. So they won for 64 now, leading by 472. Kawaja's not at 30 and Labuschagne 25, who wants to obviously make up for his duck in the first innings. Norman Ali there. Bowell in the first test got 6 wickets, hasn't done that well this match. Fahim's on the bowl at the moment. He's a pretty good all-rounder. What's your opinion of Australia not following on? I think it was a rather weak decision, actually. They're 472 in front. They don't need to be that many in front, realistically. Pink ball test was very good under lights. It seemed, and in the day, it's fun. Hope there are more day and night matches. Yeah, Vasant, I agree. Siddharth Singh, is it unrealistic to think India can qualify for the World Test Championship? No, it isn't. They're in a very good chance. And will play probably either Australia. Well, I would have said try Pakistan, but we'll wait and see how Pakistan continue at this point, but they should be up there as well. They need to win 5 or 6 of the remaining 7 matches, I guess. And India should do that. Let's be honest, they should do it. Pakistan have so many good spinners, but they're going with Sajid. I think Yashir Shah and Zaid Mahmood are much better than them. I think Yashir Shah certainly is. But yeah, they must have faith in the others. I don't necessarily know why. How many do Australia need, Norm? 600? They don't need any. They realistically don't need any more than what they've got now. They've got 4 50 or 470 odd in front at the moment. That should be, in most test cases, enough. It's impossible to imagine them getting more than 400 in the last innings. So that's my thoughts, even though we know Pakistan can bat. ICC should make pitches, otherwise polarity of pitches will continue to create dramas. I think in the last 100 years, pitches have been always part of the equation, as is the toss, the weather, the whole thing. So I wouldn't take them out of play. I think it's part of the parcel. We can complain about them, but there's more going on. Can Pakistan still win this, Norman? Look, Paul, I would argue they can't. Australia are trying to make it that way that they definitely can't by piling over 500 runs, and that making sure that they have no hope. But if Pakistan bat the way they did in the first thing, it's going to be over tomorrow. But if they bat the way they did in the first test, there's a game still on. It's very unlikely the way the game is being set up. They are trying to tire Pakistan. We have another test left. Yeah, that's true. It might be a part of the tactic, as was for Pakistan, the same in reverse. They're 1 for 69 now. Both batters on 30. Love a shame. What a magnificent play. 160 and now 30 on out. Absolutely brilliant. I did go to the USA, which and for audiences to sight the ball was difficult for batsmen to tough more and pick the ball ensures more than the batsman gets them. So you're at you're at Bengaluru as the Chinnaswamy Stadium. Is that what you're saying? Buddha boy, it's shocking batting by Pakistan. It could be it's hard to imagine they could play so badly after they played so well in the previous match. So it is somewhat of a shock. I mean, they're getting run out the way they did in that first dismissal was a mental shock. I bet Pakistan will rank tournament in the last matches. They may well do so, and I don't blame them. Pakistan not playing as a unit. It's true. It's a good way of explaining. They've batted quite ordinarily. There's something I said yes about Bangalore. Okay. Sajid Khan's bowled well. I thought that was a good delivery just then. And Norman got 6 wickets in the first inning, so their spin bowls aren't bad. And Sajid Khan can certainly field. But for Quads, this is all too easy. Pakistan's management have forgotten that this is their home yard. Cowell's captaincy at Bubba is also responsible for these blunders. I don't know whether it was his fault. They lost the toss. That was the biggest fault, if you want to call it a fault one. They won the toss. They would have batted first, and they would have piled all the runs on, probably. Looks like civil war in Pakistan. Okay. I don't know. I just think it was a little bit unfortunate. There was a drop cast there. Fawad Alam's dismissal was quite bizarre. First ball, and his batting stance is bizarre, to say the least. Cummins, as captain, was exceptional today, but his decision to bat was strange. I don't think he's been an exceptional captain at all, but yeah, I would argue that they're a bit fearful about sending teams in the subcontinent, especially if Pakistan bat the way they did in the previous test. Maybe Pakistan were overconfident coming into the game. Maybe a bit of a big lull, yes, from the first. Yes, it may well be. It's such a high. I mean, they both are open and scored centuries. One scored 2, and the first dropper scored 185. And all 3 fell cheaply in this innings, and that did open up the rest of the team. Babar Azam looked solid, but he played a strange shot to get out. But Usman Khawaja was consistent as hell. 160, now he's on 30 odd. Got 2 centuries in Sydney. He's been batting exceptionally well. He's a mainstay in the side now. Pakistan tails on. Shafina Freddie batted very well at the end there. Australia is near to a win. Well, they better not bat too long, all I can say. I still can't believe how well Australia have played this game. I think it has been a complete turnaround from the first. But then we could say the same thing about South Africa when they played New Zealand. New Zealand absolutely smashed them in the first game. When South Africa went to New Zealand, South Africa was smashed. And then they completely turned it around in the second test and they beat New Zealand. So that was also hard to comprehend because South Africa were beaten comprehensively. Middle Australia weren't beaten by Pakistan, but they didn't play well. Yep, true, normal. So, I mean, the way Australia played in Rawalpindi, they just didn't have any idea how to bowl on the pitch. I think they interestingly, I would have dropped Mitchell Starc for this match, and even kept Hazel to put Scott Boland, but they kept Starc, and he's done very well. So I eat my words there. You still think it'll be a 1-1 draw, and yeah, I think Pakistan can still win in Lahore, and that would mean if Australia win this, it's 1-1. Yeah, I still think it's possible. When Pakistan management knew that the toss win-loss probably is 50-50, then why they didn't opt for a so-called ranked turner to nullify Stark's covers? Well, it is a turning pitch. It's proving to be over the last few days, last day or so, turning quite considerably, and it's going to even turn more into the last couple of days. So yes, it is a ranked turner. But what they didn't bank on is that the reverse swing would be so well bowled by Stark. Well, Shane's getting a bit carried away. He wants to get it, runs after him, missed out the first things. Yeah, toss will also be crucial again. I agree, Paul. Something no better from Banks to try to build a partnership with Bubba. I agree. $1 million question: can Pakistan save the test? If they bat well enough, yes, they can. They certainly can. Because Australia's batting now into the end of the third day, into the early part of the fourth, I'm assuming. Normally that's enough time to get the team out most of the fourth day and all the fifth day. And with the way the wickets deteriorating, the way Australia bowled and the way Pakistan batted, you would think Australia will win this match. But Pakistan could also return back to the way they batted in the first test. Usman Khawaja got 97 in the first match, 160 in the first innings, and a further 32 not out now. So he scored 289 runs in 3 innings. 97, 160, which is 257, and 82 is 289 in 3 innings, which is ever so close to 100. While I get harder, you assume in the last 2 days, it does look like that. Good bowling by Stark, yes, it was right at 140. Sri Lanka and West Indies already lost Test match beauty. They were, yeah, okay, I'll get your point. So Australia won for 80 now. The India Sri Lanka match is over. Sri Lanka have lost. In fact, India won by 238 runs. 2-0 series win to India. We all expected it. Brother Australia, real test in India. Australia, don't be happy by beating this. Okay. This is a much better pitch than the first game. I think it is. Your thoughts on Bubba's technique? It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant batting. Beautifully timed the ball. Khawaja at the moment's in better form, though, that's for sure. Bubba's technique's fine. So 160, so Khawaja so far is at 194 in this test. And we'll make that 195. Plus 97, he's hitting to 292. 300 runs. Leading nearly by 1 runs at the end of day 3 is incredible. It is. And they're both, I can see the Australian batters are walking off. Is this the end of the day's play? It may well be. So Labuschagne and Khawaja, the score's 1 for 81. it appears to be the end of the day's play. Day 3 session summary. Session 1 had 28 overs for 89 runs, 2 wickets fell. Session 2, 20 overs, 62 runs, and 6 wickets fell. And then further 4 fell in the last session for 129 and 31 overs. So that makes it 51. So there's been about roughly 80 overs bowled with 2 changes of innings, which explains why it's not 90. So maybe now India versus Australia World Test Championship final is looking that way. Labuschagne on 37, Khawaja on 35, not out. Warner caught far wide bowled Hassan Ali for 7, 1 for 81 after 17 overs with 2 extras. Australia now lead by a mammoth amount. Well, they lead by 81, 148. That's 500 plus runs. Not quite 500. 148 less 81 is 19, is 67. Just about 480 or 90 runs. Australia lead by 489 runs. Australia 9 for 556 declared. Pakistan 148, which means they had a 408 lead already. Plus 81 is 489 runs ahead. Australia already now. And then at day 3, with 2 days left. I mean, realistically, that says it all, isn't it? That says it all. Australia lead by 489 runs. I don't know how many more they think they need. What do you think Australia didn't follow on? It was a bizarre decision, I must say. It is about it. Could bite them in the backside if they don't watch it. What do you think Australia didn't follow? Again, the same reason. I think that they've got this fear on the subconscious. It's a form of fear that exists where Australia were given a shellacking back in 2002-03 by VVS Laxman and Rahul Dravid when Australia made India follow on there. Those two went on and scored big double centuries and double centuries and very big centuries. Put India back in the lead, and then Harbhajan Singh bowled like a champion and lost a lot of wickets and ended up being all out, and India won the test after being forced to follow on. It's Kangaroo play at 4. You mean batting wise or bowling wise? Bowling wise, yeah, but batting wise, no. Australia win it easily. Yeah, Australia be docked for lower overrate. I'm not sure. Will Australia be just docked for slow overrate? You would think not. That's not 80 overs in a day is not slow or 79 because both sides, 2 innings changes, so that's roughly 10 overs in total. That's where that came about. Really, the run out of Shafiq was very disappointing. And then Khawaja, of course, took the catch later on off a batting of Babar Azam when Fick swept and took his first wicket. Then there was a shot by Shaheen, which was a colossal 6. He looked pretty good, actually. Australia play like old Australian team. Well, a little bit. Australia don't play with club cricket team play. Okay. Dream day for India. That's Australia. That's probably very true. We'd argue a dream day for India as well. They had beaten Sri Lanka quite comprehensively. Yeah, things went really well. Really went Australia's way today. Everything's in the game. Swepson's debut, he won't complain, will he? He got 15 not out in the batting. He ran out the first wicket. It fell. He came on the bowl and he bowled okay. One wicket was off Babar Azam playing a false shot. Shaheen Freddie LBW. So he did take 2 wickets. He bowled okay. I wouldn't necessarily say he bowled really well, but he bowled okay. Got pretty good figures for someone's first test match. There was 2 wickets. That's commendable. Labuschagne and Khawaja have got nothing to lose and they can go have some fun now. overconfidence of Bubba get them to the brink a little bit. Pakistan is a better team than Sri Lanka, certainly, by country mile. Sri Lanka are very poor. Warney will be happy to see the Australian performance based on, probably up there in heaven. Yep, and he did help Swepson at one stage. He's helped most leg spinners around the world, by the way. So Australia lead by 489 runs with 2 days play. But we know that Pakistan are capable of getting those runs, even though they're unlikely to. Usman Khawaja, 160 and 35, 195 in this test already, plus the 97 in the previous. He scored 292 in 3 innings. And had another couple of centuries before that. Brilliant batting. How many runs scored now for set the target? They should be setting the target now, but they're going to probably go well over 500 sometime in the first session tomorrow and then declare. I can't believe Warner has gone there. Airport. It's the case. We see so many videos now of Warning, and that's probably a good legacy to have. T20 culture in Pakistan is the reason for the position. Not really. I mean, they batted brilliant in the first test, so you can't say that. Khawaja has certainly been brilliant there. He's batted well in at least 4 or 5 innings that he's had in the last 6 or 7. He's looking monumentally in good form, both on Australian conditions in the subcontinent. He's yet to go to Sri Lanka or go to India, so he's going to have a lot of opportunities to play well on all those levels. And he's on 3,400 test runs now. He's heading towards 5,000 and more. Pakistan lives in the 90s. Brother, we won in the 90s. Well, yes and no. That's still a great potential in Pakistan. So, both matches are over. India and Sri Lanka series is finished. India winning 2-0. This series is still well and truly in the thick of it. We're about halfway, actually. We've got one test down into the third day and the second. We've got a full test to go and still 2 days play. So roughly just on halfway. Still try to haunt pack like old Australia. Australia will take this attitude wholeheartedly. You think the Pakistan are fearful? I don't think so. Just as India got rid of the fearlessness, don't fear. Women's cricket, obviously, there's Joanna Allen. South Africa currently have won all 3 of their matches in the women's. India won. They certainly did. They beat Sri Lanka comprehensively. Very comprehensively. We're seeing some weather in New Zealand. It's very picturesque, isn't it? South Africa played England. And England, who were the winners of the World Cup last time round, have lost their first 3 matches and look like they're going to be out and about. Looks like both Pakistan and England are out. Bangladesh, even though they won that game, they'll probably be also out. That leaves 5 sides fighting off 4 positions. Australia, New Zealand, India, and either South Africa or West Indies will make up the 4. Yeah, it was a very disappointing. England have been in some close ones, but they've lost them. So the team has lost all 3 matches, which is not what they expected to do, I'm pretty sure. Quite a joke. And the drama, the twists and turns of this series, India and Sri Lanka, there weren't so many twists or turns, it was just India all the way. Sri Lanka did come together in that last innings somewhat, with Karunaratne getting 100 and Kaushal Members getting 50, but the rest of the team didn't contribute. Once again, Norris and Dickwella, good player that he is, didn't quite get to show his wares. Real pity. Patience is the key to success in Test cricket. India could have batted more patiently, and so do Pakistan, and improve their records and conditions massively. It's true. There's an element of truth about the so-called patience, and even when they were playing, when India played South Africa recently, I don't know what happened there, but India should have won that series. You know, South Africa are just not that good. They've come back and they've fought hard, but they're not that great a side. Almost certain to win the Women's World Cup in my book. But I mean, well, you'd think so. They actually beat New Zealand, who are also in the top 4. India are again there, but India are again there in the previous World Cup, the T20 World Cup. And yeah, they're there again. South Africa, even though they play well, won't go any further. West Indies are, a bit hard to judge what sort of day they're going to have, but it'll be either Australia or India, Australia and New Zealand to play in that final. Pakistan ex-cricketer Wasim Akram didn't know that today Pakistan is 6th ranked bottom side in Test and ODIs and lives in the 90s. I don't know. I'm not going to knock the guy. I think he's brilliant. So, and usually knows what he's talking about too, by the way. All right. It's good to see the Bangladeshi women's team win their very first World Cup match, beating Pakistan on the same day as Pakistan going down to Australia. But it was good to see. Pac don't have quality spinners like Ashwin and Jadeja. That's why they don't make spin shakes. No, that's not true. They've got great spinners. I mean, Yashir Sarr is an absolute sensation. Good vibes for Mars this innings. He certainly takes the innings a piece to catch up. Yeah, he got out for a duck and he was very mopey, and he should have been so openly mopey. That's the truth. That's probably one of the major issues I have with him. There was no reason for that to be happening at all. She was a bit wrong. It's a real pity, and it's good to see Mitchell Starc have that reverse swing. Yes, good to see Mars look a bit happier and now compared to the other day. Well, he had an easy day, didn't he? He knew Australia well on top. He bowled this. He came on a bowl medium paces, which I'm getting annoyed by his bowling. He shouldn't have bowled at all, quite frankly. Pat Cummins is holding up okay as captain. We kept expecting to be found out, which he was in the first test, but he's bounced back nicely. We can't say that he's doing bad. He tends to lead by example. That's his big attribute, I think, which is significant. Leading by example is clearly a great trait in a captain, and hopefully so that it'll continue. But I think they will look for another captain at some stage. They certainly will. Okay, what have we got here? We've got 1100. So at this hour, we're picking up. All right. I want to see Cummins versus Virat and Bumrah versus Smith. It'll happen. Australia might win 2-0 if they win the toss again. That's true. I don't think that Pakistan will be that unlucky in the third test. That's my thoughts. I think that everything's gone against Pakistan and it's shown by the result. For sure. Absolutely for sure. So if you are watching the show, you'd like to view, like, and share, and subscribe, and obviously hit the notification button to look at the way that I work on Twitter and Instagram, and my Facebook has a sizable number, and LinkedIn as well. So please look at all those areas. And if you're watching now and you haven't subscribed, I'd like to know why. There's no reason why you can't subscribe. Anyways, I'm off to bed. Good night. Good on you, Paul. I'm not far behind you. I'll go to midnight. It's now 15 minutes or so before I head off. And I think that there's a fair bit of merit in the way that things have gone today. Indeed, like last night. So plan to take 10 weeks in second innings for Australia. You'd think that they will, and you think that they'll need probably a part of the day. It could be a lot less than that if Pakistan bat the same way they did in the first innings, but I don't think Pakistan will do that. I reckon Pakistan will put more of an effort in the second innings and try to salvage a draw, which will be impressive. You would think. All right, any more questions? I've got 28,066 subscribers. Well, I'd like to reach 30 at some stage during the series. That'll be nice. I'm sure we'll get some videos soon from Cricket Australia on post-match. So we're some. Okay, well, Australia seems to. So they're about to start the Pakistan broadcast, followed by the Australian. There'll be some very happy Australian. I'm going to guess Mitchell Stark will be interviewed. And Bangladesh, Pakistan, hopefully Bubba comes out. Don't reckon. It's been a lean series for Sri Lanka this year. India doing a big number on. Australia certainly having difficulty in the first test, and it looks like any team that travels, we're not playing warm-up matches, can't get rid of their cobwebs in time, and then playing the first test poorly, which is kind of the case with the first test. But Pakistan were all over us. Pakistan were in ascendancy. They batted really, 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 really well, scoring 700 plus runs now and losing effectively 3 to 4 wickets. But here, they were smashed, all that for 148. And Australia still the final runs, so it's a bit hard to work out. Wasn't Macron always lives in the 90s. Yeah, but he did very well in the 90s as well, so it's not unusual for someone to talk about the 90s, and that's where they did well. People think I blame the pitch. I didn't blame the pitch at all. I was one of the advocates of saying that both teams had to play on it, so it's not relevant about how good or bad the pitch is. That's my thoughts, and I'm going to stick to that because that's what I really think. What we got here? Yeah, so I started at 11 o'clock, and we've done very well. We've gone some 48 minutes. And I think this was a great day for Australia and also India. Not a good day for Pakistan, whether it was men's or women's. With the women, they lost to Bangladesh, and the men's, they've been bundled out for 148. Australia batting again. Australia have a lead of 489. Australia have a lead of 489 now. They should be batting another minute. They should be sending Pakistan in. But they're not listening. They're not listening at all. So live to review. Well, what are we calling this? We call this a we use the term live review, don't we? So look. Well, I'll use the word drama actually. There we are. There it is. I can see it now. I've just missed it. So live drama. was there. So look, live drama is 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. So yeah, we're just going up that notch. All right, guys. I think it's fair to say that we've had a good session today. India have defeated Sri Lanka yet again, leading the series 2-0. Lakmal's last match to Ratnavati, I think she's 14th Test century. Kushalmeta's got 50, but they were still beaten by 239 runs or 38 runs after having lost the first Test by an innings and 222 runs. So India absolutely smashed Sri Lanka. In this match, previous matches with Australia and Pakistan, Australia and Pakistan drew the first Test, but Pakistan were dominant. This time Australia's dominated with well over 500 Test runs and bundling Pakistan out for 148 with this reps taken 2. And Mitchell started bowling very well with his 3 wickets. So yeah, there's a really good ascendancy there. Great situation. And I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone. Yes, the numbers aren't as great today, but that's indicative of a situation where we were probably not expected to do well, really. Let's have a look here. All right, no more questions. Let's have a look here. Mate, let's not listen to him. That's the best way he doesn't gain popularity. Who's that? Who wasn't I care now about it? Norman, do you think tomorrow will we see Australia win the Test match? You would think so. On the current way the match has gone, you would think so. The Pakistan can bat like they did in the first innings, first Test at least, they should be able to perhaps bat out most of tomorrow and into the last day. That would be exciting. But I do think tomorrow we'll probably see a victory at the end of tomorrow if Australia go back early. Sorry, Pakistan going back early. All right, we might just so look here. Just checking it. Why is it not showing us that? Yeah. Live drama. It's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Interesting. Australia versus India will be a great series, yes. It'll be up later in the year after Australia plays Sri Lanka. Australia should win against Sri Lanka, you would think. But being at home, you just don't know. You don't know what happened there. You really don't know. There's no wait and see. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Okay, let's have a look at. I think Australia needs to worry about Pakistan, Trivas, and they need to swap wickets to the They do. They'll be important again. Prasidh Krishna and India shouldn't shy from pace-friendly wickets in India. That strength is pace bowling. Now they've got a pretty good strength in there. Do you think Zampa could have been an option to compare to? Yeah, I think Zampa's a better bowler than Swepson. No, there's no doubt about that. I mean, Swepson was not bad today. He looked okay, but if I'm being honest with you, I don't think he was that good either. He got 2 wickets. He had a run out, but he performed only 15 not out. So he'd be happy. But Zampa would have been a better option. I still believe so, very strongly. Absolutely. And has a lot of experience. Australia destroyed Pakistan. They did today. Amazingly well. It was quite amazing how well things went, really. Really. It was really surprising how well things went today. Everything went Australia's way, let's be honest. Everything went Australia's way. There's no doubt everything went Australia's way. There's nothing wrong with that. Winning the toss is crucial. It really is. Had Pakistan batted first, it may have been a very different story. Sri Lanka will give tough time to Australia. I think you're kind of right. It won't be that easy. For something the rain, whatever you said, Norman. Of late, India and Pakistan have been producing great spinners, even in domestic cricket. Pacers have dominated India, but suited to play pace and spin. There's definitely been a move towards pace in India, which is not a bad thing. They can combine with the good spinners and do really, really well. Yeah. All right. I'm just about to hit the. It's a good little jump. Everybody's come to watch the live show. It's really impressive that you're here. So view, like, and share the post. Subscribe to Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kloshnik. And then hit the notification button so you get to know when all the performances are on. Then also go to my Instagram and Twitter handle. And further across, Norman Kloshnik is my Facebook, if you want to say that, and my so-called it's LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn. Shouldn't say that. What do we say? Well, show catching is the test match is a bit of a concern for you. Yeah, that was a little bit of a concern. Not with Cameron Green, I'm not. I'm very impressed with him. If you follow Ranji cricket, you will come across that more green wickets are produced in domestic and players haven't played spinners. And there may be a bit of move there. It's kind of the world stage, isn't it? Pakistan world rankings in Test number 6 in ODIs and number 6 in Test cricket. These people live in the 90s. Well, Pakistan aren't that bad at Test cricket. I'll tell you that now. I'll tell you that right now. Nothing wrong with it with Test cricket. I've got 1 minute to go before that hits. One, two, three, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 3, 6, 7. Okay, well, we're doing well here. Pakistan, okay. India will beat Australia 2-0 on the Test series. They probably will. It's going to be a very hard task for Australia to do well there, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure indeed. I think you wouldn't be far wrong from saying that. Waiting for that magical 1 minute to go. All right, guys. View, like, and share the post. Subscribe. Australia are in the ascendancy at the moment. India dominated one day series 2-0. West Indies, England ended up being a draw. Australia were doing well in the World Cup, Women's World Cup. England not, which is certainly a bit of a shock. Three, 6, 3, 6. There you go. $11 o'clock. That was actually 1 in the morning. Okay. All right, Norman, quite a boring test match we had between Sri Lanka. Yeah, well, Timothy Karunaratne was pretty good. I think he bowled very well. Batted very well, I should say. Yeah. Well, just about to hit an hour, guys. Moving on the next hour here. And we'll finish this show up. So view, like, and share, please. As I said, quite helps how many sessions Australia will play tomorrow. Hello, I think no more than 1 to 1.5. I can't go any further. It'll be silly to go. I think they'll be only going for less than the first session, to be honest. Maybe half an hour to an hour. That's how long. I can't see it being any longer than that. So that's my thoughts, guys. All right, guys. We've got exactly 1 hour, so that's good for me. You take care. We'll talk to each other tomorrow.